What's up you guys, welcome back and welcome if you're new. In today's video we're going to be showing you just exactly how to install ditch lights onto your 2016 and up Tacoma. The reason we're installing these is so that way we can flash you when we're coming head on. I'm just kidding. But we're going to show you just exactly how to do it, how to wire it up, and we're also going to give you night clips at the end of this video. So make sure to stay tuned if you are interested. Let's go ahead and get into the video and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Alright, so before we get into the installation process, I'm going to go ahead and show you just exactly what comes inside the box and which exact lights we did get. So the ones that we do have here today are going to be the Diode Dynamics SS3 Pros. They are going to be in white. Unlike my fog lights, they are the yellow version. So these are going to be the white ones. It does come with the brackets that are going to be needed for the actual hood, and then these are going to be the ones for the actual ditch lights. It's going to come with your harness and all the hardware and instructions needed to do this installation. I also want to give a big shout out to Diode Dynamics because they did hook it up with some brand new fog lights for the Jeep. So make sure to stay tuned for this video. Let's go ahead and get into it and we'll show you exactly how it's done. So here we have our pod, our bracket for the pod that's going to install to the bracket we just installed, and then of course our hardware. You're also going to notice there is a cut connection like this. We're not going to need this. I would save it just in case, but you're not going to need it for this installation because the wiring harness does already have this. So let's put this to the side. Looking at this right here, you're going to notice there is a bigger nut, lock washer, and a bigger bolt. Those are going to be for the bottom of this bracket. So we're going to leave that off next. We're going to go ahead and focus on the actual light. You're going to notice right here the connection that is going to be towards the bottom. So make sure this is pointed to the bottom of the vehicle. So when it's installed, this is going to want to be your bottom, which it says SAE. That's how you know that's the bottom portion. And this top section is going to be facing to the top. So looking at the back once again, we're going to go ahead and notice right here we do have two nuts. So those ones you want to go ahead and insert right inside of here in these holes. Same with this, insert in this hole here. Once you have that, get your bracket, and you're going to notice right here on the bracket there is like a lip that you want it towards the bottom like this, because when we go ahead and put it like this, it should be for facing forward. If you have it like this, that's incorrect. So let's put it like this, bring it down, and let's now put the bolts. We get one of the small ones, one of the washers. Let's go ahead and insert it. You don't want to do this tight, you just want to kind of lock it into place. Next one, and the washer, put it on the opposite side, same thing, don't tighten it all the way down. One thing I did want to note that I didn't mention is something you do need to buy separate, which is inexpensive. You're going to want to go ahead and get a blue painter's tape to help you with this installation. You're going to want to go ahead and get a metal clothes hanger and just kind of open it up how I have it here. You'll see what we're going to do exactly with it. And then you're going to want to go ahead and get some zip ties and some wire loom for the engine bay. You'll see why. Let's go ahead and now get into the install. Of course, and now that we have built our pods the way they're supposed to be, as you can tell, the little front fin right here is facing forward. The SAE is going to be facing downwards. So everything's all nice and built. Up next is we're going to go ahead and start with the actual hood hinge brackets. Let's go ahead and get to it. For this next step, you're going to want to go ahead and get a 12mm socket. You're going to want to go ahead and get your blue painter's tape, and of course your hood hinge brackets that were provided from Diode Dynamics. So the first thing we're going to do is of course open up our hood. That's going to be the easiest. Of course, now that you have the hood open like this, we're going to go ahead and focus on the hood hinges, which are going to be the ones that are right here. You're going to notice on the inside there's going to be one bolt on the bottom, one bolt on the top. Those are going to be a 12mm socket to remove them. Before doing that though, I wanted to show you on the opposite side there's also another hood hinge there, which we'll get to it in a minute. But coming back over here, before you remove the bolts, we're going to go ahead and put the blue painter's tape around the bracket. I'll tell you guys why in a minute. Right here, as I stated, we're going to go ahead and get the blue painter's tape. You're going to want to put it around the bracket, so one strip here, one strip right here at the top, and one strip coming down. The reason why is because when we remove these two bolts, the hood is actually going to move, of course. So when we go to reinstall the hood, you're going to want to make sure to put it back in the correct position. If not, the hood might not close. So by putting the blue painter's tape, it's just going to act as a guideline. So let's do that now. On the inside bracket, you're going to notice there's a notch here and a notch here. The tape, you do want to put it, of course, at the top of the notch and at the top of this notch. So now that we have our blue painter's tape all around, we're going to do it to the opposite side, and then we'll get to installing the bracket and removing the bolts, of course. So now you want to go ahead and get your hood hinge brackets. You're going to notice there is a groove going up, and then to one side, this one that looks like this is going to be for the passenger side, and then this other one that's facing this way is going to be for your driver's side. As you can tell, it goes up and it goes this way towards the outside of the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and now install this. First, of course, we're going to get our 12mm socket, and we're going to go ahead and remove this bolt and this one. Let's do that now. All right, and as you can tell, as I stated, the hood does move. So that's the reason why you want the blue painter's tape, so it can act as your guideline right now that we go to reinstall. The cool thing about this is it's not like other brackets, so it's going to keep your hood intact. So you want to put it at the bottom, just like that. Let's go ahead and align the hood, make sure it's straight. First bolt, and you want to just do it kind of by hand, so that way if it's still misaligned, you can still kind of move it. Put the other one by hand as well. Once you're satisfied, go ahead and tighten it down now. Once you've securely tied it down, now you could of course remove the blue painter's tape. Once you do that, you want to do the same exact step to the opposite side. So now that you're in this step, we're almost basically done. We're just going to need to put the pods and then do the wiring, and you could enjoy, of course, your brand new lights. So right now that we did install the brackets, you want to go ahead and close the hood. Make sure everything's aligned, which it looks like. Nothing's popping up. Everything looks as factory. So let's go ahead and now install the pods right on top as I stated, and we'll get to the wiring. Now that we've installed, of course, the hood hinge bracket, we're going to go ahead and now move on to the actual pods. So in the beginning, we already put this, we installed this bracket onto the actual pod. Up next, we're basically going to be installing the screw that goes right here at the bottom, so that way it can attach to the actual bracket that we just put. One thing I did want to note is you want to leave these screws a little bit loose. The reason why is because you want to go ahead and test them out at night and just kind of see, you know, where you're going to want them to be, and then you can secure them down. If you don't really care where they're pointed, you want this more for looks, then of course you could go ahead and tighten everything down right now. So as I stated, mine is loose because I'm going to test them at night. So make sure to stay until the end of the video, because I'm going to go right here back to the spot so you guys can see how bright these things really are. You're going to want to go ahead and get the bolt that was provided. It's one of the bigger ones, and then of course one of the bigger washers, and then one of the bigger lock washers, and then of course the bigger nut. So that's what we're going to be working with right now. So right now that I have this pod kind of facing up this way, I can go ahead and just slide the screw in just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and put it over the bracket, which I'll go ahead and get close so you guys can see what I'm talking about. As you can tell, the screw is here. We're going to go ahead and slide it over the bracket that we did install. Lock washer first, slide it into the screw, and then your washer, and then slide that into the screw. I'm going to go ahead and do them at the same time so it makes it easier for me. Get your nut, and go ahead and install the nut next. Once you get it on there, you just want to kind of hand tighten it for now, because as I stated, you're going to want it to be loose a little bit, so if you want to move it around later at night. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand tighten it. As I stated, it is going to be a little bit loose. I'm going to leave it there, bring the pod back down, so it is loose. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the opposite side. Up next, we're going to go ahead and now do the wiring so we can finally finish this awesome installation. So the reason why I said to go ahead and get some wire loom covering is because, as you can tell on the Diode Dynamics, for some reason on the ditch light ones, it doesn't come with wire loom. Right here, you're going to notice there is going to be some orange connections. Those are the ones that are going to be connecting to the pods. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do first. So looking at the back of this pod here, you're going to notice there is a connection. That's where this is going to go ahead and go connected. And it only goes in one way, so you can't mess this up. And you want to make sure it goes all the way in until you hear it click. Once it's clicked, you're good to go. Let's go ahead and now do the opposite side, and then we'll open up the hood. Now we're in this step here. Of course, both pods are connected. Let's go ahead and now get into the connection part of it. So that way we can wire up the switch, connect it to the battery, and finally test them out. Before doing that, as I stated though, we're gonna go ahead and put some wire loom. Let me go ahead and open up the hood so we can get started on that. Of course, after we've connected the actual pods, this is what you're left with. And as you can tell, I mean, one, it's probably not gonna be appealing whenever you do open up your hood. It's gonna look kind of funky. And then I'm not sure exactly how safe this would really be. I mean, I'm sure it is, but to me, I don't like how it looks. So that's the reason why I said to go ahead and get some wire loom. So that way we can cover this up and it can look nice and clean and basically factory. Actually very cheap if you get it like on Amazon or anything like that. Basically all it really is there's an opening here and you just slide it all the way through, and you'll see once I'm done how clean it's gonna look versus this ugly thing. Once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and zip tie our connections towards the battery. That way we can keep going. Really quick, I wanted to show you why I like the wire loom. So as you can tell, it now looks factory. I'll show you where exactly I'm going to put it. And then look at this side, that's the wiring without the wire loom. Let's keep going. Right now I have the passenger side almost done. So what I'm going to be doing is, if you notice right here, there is a little tab. You want to go ahead and get a flathead or a panel removal tool, pop it out, and it removes easily. On some trucks it's on this side, and on other trucks it's on this side, but it's going to be the same exact to remove it. And then that way we'll start zip tying the wire loom all the way down. The reason why I like doing it like that is because it kind of gives it more secureness. And then now you just put the tab back and it's underneath this versus being over. Alright, so with this next section, now that you have it all in the wire loom, what we're going to be doing is zip tying this to this existing wire here, just all the way towards the driver's side. As you can tell, as I was stating, it's going to look for a factory look. So now that we're right here, I do have the wires here. I'm not going to continue on because this wiring is going to actually go inside the cab. So if I do keep going with the wire loom, it's not going to fit. So I'm going to leave this exposed for right now. Now we've done the passenger side, let's go ahead and now do the driver's side ditch light. So same thing, we're going to put the wire loom in. I'm starting from about here because the rest of the wiring is what's going to go inside the cab. As I was stating, I'm leaving some exposed so it can fit through. Now you're going to notice, of course, on both sides we're going to have extra wiring. So we're going to go ahead and grab it. Clothes hanger now, you want to go ahead and stretch it wide open. Provided you're going to notice you're going to get one that's basically a single wire. It's going to have this type of connection. It's going to have add a fuse. And then it's going to have one more of these type of connections that's going to connect to the switch. So you want to get the side that has for the switch. And same thing as stated, get the 3. Just like that. Tape them together with your black electrical tape. Get the opposite end, and I'm going to show you how to feed it through. Basically what we're going to be doing, I know it's going to be kind of hard to see on camera, but we are on the driver's side. You're going to notice right here there is a rubber boot. There's going to be a cable that's coming out right here. You're going to see that gray piece. And then you're going to see this other wire here. This is already one that I ran through the actual grommet when I did my bumper light bar. So that's basically where we're going to be running it through again. So you're going to notice right here, I did have to cut a small slit for it to be able to fit. So this is the end of the clothes hanger where we're going to be feeding it through. So let's go ahead and do that now. If you do have 2 people to help you out, I would suggest having someone inside so they can kind of help guide the clothes hanger all the way through. You're not going to be able to see here because it is going to be kind of dark, but where the actual clothes hanger is coming in through, it's going to be kind of at the top right here in this section where my finger is pointing. You're going to notice it, and you can now just kind of pull the clothes hanger through. Of course, if you did this correctly, all the wires should be coming through just like that. So you want to go ahead and kind of pull it until where it just stops slightly. Now that you've ran all the wires in through the cab, you're going to notice, of course, you have the 3 left connections right here. And then you're going to go ahead and grab your switch that is provided. If you do not want to use this toggle switch that does come provided, you can always get a Cali Ray switch, which looks for an OEM factory look. I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one for now. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece here. So the way I did it is flathead, I just popped it, and it removes this whole thing. Once I'm in this step here, you're going to notice this one is a blank one. So looking in the back, you just go ahead and push these 2 here. You pop it right out just like that. And what I'm going to be doing here is I'm actually going to go ahead and just drill out a hole. input the switch, and then we'll go ahead and do the wiring part. This part is super easy. In this section here, what I'm going to be doing, as I stated, this is the switch that did come with Diode Dynamics. I have the plastic piece that was off the truck right here. I'm going to be using a 5/8. I'm not sure exactly what these are called, but I know it's to make holes. I don't think it's to make for plastic, but I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. So basically all I'm doing is cutting a hole that's the size of this diameter, so that way it still works with these to clip in so it doesn't fall out. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the center there. Once I'm in the center, I'm going to just kind of hit it with the hammer just to make sure it doesn't go everywhere when I start it. Don't have to do, you can always put it anywhere else. This is just how I'm going to do it. Alright. As you can tell, we did already cut out the plastic piece, which was here, so that way the switch can fit. I'm going to show you just how to wire it up outside, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and connect it on here off camera. It'll just make it easier to show you guys if I do it right here versus inside. So you're going to want to go ahead and get the black one first. The black one is going to go ahead and get connected to the gold piece right here. So go ahead and connect the two just like that. Of course, put the cover, the heat shield right over. Once you have that one connected, you now want to get the red single connection. That one goes in the center. Same thing, connect it, and then put the heat shield right over. Once you do that one, you want to go ahead and now get the last red connection that does have two like this, as you can tell. You want to go ahead and connect that one at the end portion, and then of course put the heat shield right over. Of course, as I stated, I wanted to demonstrate on the outside, but once you have it installed, if you do it like me, it's going to look something like this. As you can tell, the switch is there, and you're going to notice right here you do have a lot of access wire. So if you do have, as stated, these zip ties are awesome. You can go ahead and now zip tie this and kind of hide it away so it's not exposed wiring. Now that we're basically done, we only have two connections left, which is the black one, which is negative, and the red one, which is the positive. I did put some wire loom on it to just kind of keep them together. As you can tell, it gives it a whole factory look, so it doesn't look all cheap and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the negative one first. So I usually like connecting to here, so that's what I'm going to be doing right now. For this bolt here, it is going to be a 10mm socket. You just want to go ahead and remove it. The one with the diode, it does have a cutout here, so you don't have to take off the bolt 100%. Just kind of loosen it enough to where it will fit. Slide it in right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. Once again, this is a 10mm bolt, so just make sure you have the correct socket for that. This right here on the red connection, remove the boot. I like putting my connections through this section here, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just feed it right through. Trust me, the cleaner you do the installs, the better it is, the more compliments you will get. If someone does ever open up your engine bay, it's a better compliment. I know my engine's dirty, but as far as wiring, it's going to look clean. So this one here is going to be a 12mm socket. That's where I'm going to connect it. So the red one is going to be the positive. And same thing, it has a cutout, so you don't need to remove the bolt all the way. Go ahead and reinstall. Now that we're done with the installation, as you guys can tell, all the wiring does look basically factory. You don't see anything. It looks nice and clean all the way through, all the way around, of course, besides those two there, but that's okay. It still looks good. And let me go ahead and show you the inside. Now with the inside, as you can tell, it's all factory look, and you're going to notice right here, whenever the light isn't on, the switch is off. When the light is on, the light will turn on. So let me go ahead and show you. So right now they are turned on. Let's show you the actual ditch lights, and of course I'll show you at night, but damn, those things are bright. So it's looking good, looking great. And then whenever you want to turn them off, of course that little red light will turn off just like that. So if you guys reach this part of the video, it's probably because you guys are really interested in actually buying these ditch lights. And as you guys can tell, basically right now I do have all my lights on, I'm not gonna lie, but you can probably see me really clear, and that's thanks to all the Diode Dynamics lighting that I do have on the truck. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and turn around the camera. I'm gonna show you exactly which ones I have on, and of course, as I stated, basically all my lighting is Diode Dynamics. And then once I show you guys that, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna go ahead and turn all the lights off. I'll go ahead and turn on the Diode Dynamics ditch lights first. I'll show you guys how bright those are. Keep in mind, those are more of like a spot beam. That's why they're good for having as ditch lights. And then of course I'll go ahead and then turn on my fog lights, which are also diode dynamics, and then I'll go ahead and turn on the light bar, which is also diode dynamics, just so you guys can see the full lighting effect that these lights actually give. And of course, if you do end up wanting to purchase any of these products, it's going to be in the description box below. And don't forget, I've made install videos on all these lightings, so if you want to see those, that will also be in the description box below. So let me go ahead and turn the camera around really quick and explain. At the top we do have the ditch lights from Diode Dynamics, which are the Pro SS3s in white. And then looking right here towards the bottom, I do have the yellow Pro SS3s from also Diode Dynamics as well, of course, in yellow. And then looking inside the bumper towards the bottom, that one right there is their light bar. Of course, they're not Diode Dynamics, but I am really fond of them, which is my grill, which comes with the 3 Raptor lights. If you want that, it's in the description box below. And then of course I have the Tacoma Beast headlights with the Tacoma Beast LEDs installed. Now flipping the camera around, I'm not sure if you guys can capture it on the actual camera, but that way down there is actually a good amount away from us, and you can actually see it very clearly. The lighting does come out this way, and of course that way, thanks to the ditch lights. And what I was saying is make sure to leave these kind of loose, so that way you guys can kind of move them around like that and just kind of adjust them to where you want them. That's where I kind of want them. I don't want them too spread out. I kind of want it so that way it lights the way really good. And then of course, as I stated, the light bar and the fog lights are on. I'm going to go ahead and now turn everything off and go one by one. Now all we have on is the actual Diode Dynamics ditch lights, which you can tell one is there and then one is on the opposite side. Of course, these are like spot beams, so that's why there's a smaller angle of light, but it is a really bright forward, as you guys can tell. I'm going to go ahead and now turn that off and then turn the light bar on. Alright, so of course that is the Diode Dynamics light bar, as you guys can tell. I do need to re-angle it because it looks like it is facing down a little bit now, where it should actually be facing a little bit forward, but there it is. Let me go ahead and now turn on the fog lights only. Alright, so on camera is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's just the Diode Dynamics fog lights. So of course I do have them in yellow. They do make them in white. And turn the fog lights off and just turn my headlights on. So those are my Tacoma Beast LEDs. Of course, this has nothing to do with the video, but I just wanted to show you the differences. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, if you want any of this, it's going to be in the description box below. I'll see you guys on the next one. And stay tuned, because we did get some of these of the Diode Dynamics for the fog lights for the Jeep. So stay tuned for that video. We'll see you guys.